It's April of '04, and Tremayne Graham's in LA handling some business, and he gets a bad phone call from his wife, Kai, who tells him Scott King's in custody and probably giving information because the Graham house in Cobb County gets ran up in by the feds. And soon after, Graham gets indicted in this big case out of South Carolina that involved Jerry Davis and Scott King and others. And he gets out on a $400,000 bond. While he waited to go on trial, he remained under house arrest in the 5,000 square foot home he shared with his wife in Woodruff Plantation, which is the subdivision they lived in East Cobb County. And a lot of places in Atlanta with the word plantation in it. Kind of weird, I noticed when I was down there. The neighbors said they knew nothing about KiKi Graham's drug business or much else about the couple. They didn't socialize with anyone in the neighborhood. When Graham and Franklin had a pool installed, neighbors complained that the couples wouldn't stop workers who tramped on their lawns. Graham and Franklin never seemed to want to follow the rules, Ms. Todd said. They were not the ideal neighbors. Even while Graham was under house arrest, he continued to oversee the distribution of drugs from California, according to testimony by another defendant, Eric Rivera. Scott King, his buddy, testified that Graham got worried about Ulysses Hackett, and that's why he intimated he had him killed. So weeks after Ulysses Hackett III and his girlfriend Misty Carter were slain in Atlanta, just before his trial was scheduled to begin in South Carolina, KiKi Graham cut off his ankle monitor and fled to California. Being an excellent decision maker, while KiKi Graham was in California, on the run, he decided to slip his 6'5" frame into a Ferrari and drive around in LA in a Ferrari. And as soon as KiKi disappeared, the mayor's daughter filed for divorce. But the recent testimony and other public records suggest it may have been a divorce on paper only. Franklin and Graham remained in regular contact, according to evidence presented during his sentencing. Graham's co-defendants testified that while he was a fugitive, he sent drug money to Franklin. One bag holding $25,000, another $20,000. She also got portions of $150,000 that Graham invested in her father's business. David Franklin, her father, and Peebo Bryson's former personal manager, testified that investment never occurred, so that has to be said for the record. In California, Tremayne Graham got a prepaid cell phone to call only his wife, thinking it would be difficult to trace. Scott King said they referred to it as the Kai phone. They would talk about different things like paying bills, he said. He said Franklin regularly sent bills to Graham at a house where he was hiding in suburban LA, and Franklin would pay, or KiKi Graham would pay the bills from there with, of course, money orders. So Kai Franklin would get the cash. He would buy money orders for under $3,000, which violates the federal law of structuring payments to avoid scrutiny, and that's what got her in trouble later. So KiKi was still trying to help her keep up the lifestyle even while he was on the run. After Ulysses Hackett and Misty Carter popped up dead and Graham went on the run, he obviously blew the bond, so they sent a bounty hunter after him who got onto him. Probably wasn't hard, 6'5" guy in a Ferrari. I mean, there's a few of those in LA, but there ain't that many. And followed him to a house, and the feds ran in, and he was in there, and I think Jerry Davis was in there at the time too. Maybe Jerry Davis got caught in another house, but I think they were together, and there was 100 kilos and like $1.5 million in cash. So this case actually had, drugs and people. So Graham's now in custody. The party's over. He's got to figure out what he's going to do. So he tells him he's going to cooperate in exchange for a 35-year deal. So that's how bad this case was. So remember, like T and Meach, BMF,